Hello everyone. In this brief video, I'm going to quickly go over the inheritance of anomalous color vision. In other words, how is the transmission of red-green color vision defect occurs in children from their parents. So here is the picture on the right that is called the Punnett Square that gives you the probability of transmission of red-green anomalies. It is typically called the X-linked recessive transmission because it usually gets transmitted through the X-linked gene in a recessive fashion. So the XY is the male, XX is the female, and the anomalous, it could be anomalous male, it could be anomalous female, and the female could also be carriers as well. So the heterozygous female, who's a carrier, is marked by a hyphen over the top of the X, and the anomalous male has a hyphen over the top of the X as well. And females who have both of them, who are color vision anomalies, have the hyphen on top of both the X's. So essentially you can have about 5 different scenarios, the sixth one being the normal situation in which color vision defect could be inherited. So I'll go one by one so that you can understand that. So if there is a parent who are normal and both the parents are normal, the mother doesn't have the defective gene, the dad doesn't have the defective gene. If they have 4 children, we are always going to assume they're going to have 2 daughters and 2 sons. If they have 4 children, 2 males and 2 females, the females are XX and the males are XY, then 100% of the daughters and 100% of the sons will be color normal. Remember, the mother gives the X gene to the offspring, and the dad contributes either the X or the Y gene. If the dad contributes the X gene, it becomes the daughter. If the dad contributes the Y gene, then it becomes the son. So generally speaking, depending on whether the defective X chromosome comes, or anomalous chromosome comes from the dad or mom to their offspring, decides whether they happen to be anomalous color vision or the carriers. So generally the daughters act as carriers and the sons usually have anomalous color vision. So in the very first example, let's call this number 1 and 2, 3, 4, etc. So in this example, you can see the dad is anomalous, mom is color normal. So in this case, if they have 2 daughters and 2 sons, both the daughters would actually receive the anomalous gene from the dad. So 100% of the daughter will be carriers. They may still display normal color vision. If you test them, they'll have normal color vision, but they will be having the defective gene. So 100% of the daughter will receive the anomalous gene from the dad. As far as the sons are concerned, 100% of them will not have the color vision defect. Let's take the second example. So in the second example, the father is normal, the mother is color vision defect, or mother is anomalous. In this case, the mother passes on the defective genes to both son and daughter. The dad has a normal X gene, so both the daughters, that is 100% of the daughters, will be carrier of the color defective gene, but they will not be color defective. However, because the mother was color defective, both the sons, that is 100% of the sons, will be color defective. So if the mother is color defective, then the sons are going to be color defective. In the third situation here's a situation where the dad is color defective, mom is the carrier of the gene. In this case, 50% of the daughter and 50% of the son will be anomalous, because the son is going to receive the defective gene from the mother, and the daughter is going to receive the defective gene both from the dad and the mom. So 50% of the daughter will be anomalous and 50% will be carrier of the gene, whereas in case of sons, 50% of the son will be color defective and 50% would be color normal. So in an exam situation, you could be tested by asking what percentage of daughters are color defective, or what percentage of daughters are color normal, or what percentage of daughters are color or carriers of the gene. whereas in case of sons, it could be what percentage of sons are color normals or what percentage of sons are color defective. Unless the question is asking you what percentage of children, generally your results are going to be either 0%, 50% or 100%, because you're always assuming it's either two daughters or two sons. So if the question is asking you daughters or sons, then it is going to be usually 0%, 50% and 100%, never 25 or 75%. So keep that in mind. In the last situation here, you can see that the father is normal, mother is the carrier of the gene. In this case, 50% of the daughter will actually receive the gene, that means will be carrier, but 100% of the daughter will be color normal. There will be no color defective here. In case of the sons, 50% of them will be color defective. So I'll go over this again in the next slide in little more detail, so that you can understand this better. So we are assuming, remember, we are assuming two sons and two daughters as offsprings. So it's always going to be, the question is always going to be worded what percentage of sons or what percentage of daughters are going to be color defectives, or what percentage of daughters are carriers, or it can ask you what percentage of daughters or sons are color normals. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep one another thing in mind. The daughters who are carriers of the gene will still display normal color vision. So they are still color normals, but they may carry the gene. So let's talk about 6 different scenarios. The very first scenario is essentially a normal case where the dad is normal, mother is normal. So this is what we saw in the previous slide. So both dad and mom are normal. 100% of the daughters and 100% of the sons are going to be color normal. So it's going to be no color vision defective. In the second situation, you can see the dad is anomalous, that is, dad is color vision defective, and the mother is color normal. So in this situation, the daughters, 100% of the daughters are going to be carriers and 100% of the sons are going to be color normal. Remember, the 100% of the daughters who are carriers are also going to be going to display normal color vision. So they are just carriers of the gene, doesn't mean they'll display color defective. So all the children essentially here are still going to be color normals when you test them in color vision defect, except that the daughters actually carry the gene to the next generation. Here's a third situation where you have a normal father and a color defective mother. It's very rare to have the mother to be color defective. Generally females don't themselves receive both the color defective gene, so it's very rare that females are color defective. But in a rare situation, if the mother is color defective, then it's going to really be little significant, because if the mother is color defective, then 100% of the daughters are going to be carriers of the gene and 100% of the sons are going to be color defective. So this is one situation. If the mother is color defective, 100% their sons are going to be color defective. The fourth one is, here is the next situation where the dad is anomalous and the mother is carrier. So this is also a little significant situation, because here, because the dad is anomalous and the mother is the carrier, 50% of the daughters and 50% of the sons are going to be color deficient, whereas 50% of the daughter and 50% of the son are going to be color normals. However, in case of daughters, they still carry the gene among the 50%. So this daughter is still going to have the gene but will display normal color vision. So here is a situation: if the mother is the carrier of the gene and the father is anomalous, so there is going to be 50% chance that both male and female, that is the sons and daughters, are going to be color deficient or color defective. The fifth case is where the dad is normal and the mother is carrier. So in this situation, the daughters, 100% of them are going to be color normals, but 50% of them will be the carriers of the gene, and the sons are going to be 50% color deficient and 50% color normal. So this is also a situation where the mother is carrying the gene. That means it will be passing 50% of the carrying gene to daughters, as well as making the sons 50% deficient. The last situation is very, very rare, where both the mom and the dad are color defectives. In this case, 100% of the children, both daughters as well as the sons, are going to be impacted. When I say 100%, I'm just counting within the two daughters and within the two sons. So this is 50%, this is 50%, this is 50%, this is 50%. I'm just giving you an example. I don't have the Punnett square for the last one, but you can easily assume all of them are going to be impacted when both dad and mom are color defective. It's a very, very rare situation. So if you look very closely, the only situation where the daughter could be potentially color defective is the last one, where dad and mom are color defective. Or you can have a situation like number 4, where the mother is the carrier of the gene, and here 50% of the daughter will be color defective. So these are the rare situation where the daughters could inherit color vision defect. So just to summarize what we learned, this question could also be answered in a slightly different way. So when will the daughters be color defective? So if the dad is color defective and the mom is carrier of the gene, then 50% of the daughters will be color defective. Okay, and the other 50% will be carriers but will display normal color vision. Similarly, if the dad is anomalous and the mother is color defective, the last case scenario, then 100% of the daughter will be color defective. So bottom line, a daughter will be color deficient or color defective when both parents have the anomalous X gene. So if they receive the anomalous X gene from both the parents, then that particular daughter will be colorblind. Otherwise, it's very, very rare that a female would be colorblind unless she inherits both the gene from the anomalous gene from both the parents. The next is, when will the daughters be 100% carriers of the gene? So the daughters would be carriers when the dad is normal and the mother is color defective, when the dad is color defective and mother is normal, or when the dad is anomalous, that is color defective, and mother is also color defective. So in these cases, the daughters will receive the anomalous gene. So the daughters will be 100% carriers if they receive the anomalous gene from either parent. As long as they're receiving a gene from the parent, then there is a very high probability that they are going to be color defective. The next question is, when will the daughters be 50% carriers? Previous one was, when will the daughters be 100% carriers? So daughters will be 50% carriers when the dad is color defective and mom is the carrier, or when the dad is normal and the mother is carrier. So in both these situations, the daughter will be 50% carrier. So in a sense, the daughters will be 50% carriers if they receive the anomalous X gene from the mother, who is actually the carrier. So in both situations, you see above, the mother was the carrier. The fourth one is, when will the daughters be 100% color normals, or in otherwise have normal color vision or 0% color defective? So if both father and mother are normal, then the daughter is going to be normal. If the father is anomalous but the mother is normal, then 100% of the daughters will be carriers, but they will display normal color vision. Similarly, if the father is normal and the mother is anomalous, the daughter will receive the gene from the mother, so they'll be carriers, but they will still display normal color vision. One another scenario is father being normal and the mother being carrier. Here again, the daughters, 50% of them would be carriers of the gene, but still 100% of them will display normal color vision. So you can see in all these 4 different scenarios, the daughter may or may not carry the defective gene, but they'll display normal color vision. So majority of us, especially females, they don't generally display color vision defect. They will have normal color vision even though they carry the gene to the next generation. So when will the sons be 100% color normals or color 0% color defectives? So if the dad and mom are normal, then the sons are going to be all right. They're not going to get the color vision defect. Or if the father is anomalous, mother is normal, then usually the gene goes to the daughter, not the son. So in these 2 situations, the sons will be 100% color normal. So if you understand the previous Punnett square, then you can easily work out for any different scenarios. The most frequent one you will encounter in your clinical practice is the male being color defective. So it typically could be the sons could be color defective. That means the mother is carrier. So that typically is number 5 is what is most likely that you will encounter in your day-to-day practice. And most often the Deuteranomalous color vision defect is the most frequent color vision defect. Here is an example. Both a husband and wife pass a color vision test. If the wife's father has an inherited red-green defect, what is the probability of the couple's daughter being color defective? So remember, here the dad and the mom are not color defective. However, the mother's father was color defective. That means she, the wife, is actually carrying the defective gene. Remember, if the wife is carrying the defective gene, she will pass it on to 50% of the sons and 50% of the daughters. So that means if the daughter is having the gene, she may not display color vision defect because the dad is normal. So the daughter will still have the gene but will act as a carrier and will not display color vision defect. So the answer here is actually 0% because the husband or the father is unaffected, while the wife is actually the possible carrier from her from her dad, and then the daughter is essentially going to be a carrier and the son is going to be color defective because the mother usually passes it on to the son. So daughter will receive the gene but will not display color vision defect. If the daughter has to be color defective, then the anomalous gene has to come from both the parent.